Howdy, and welcome back to Celebrating Vintage Model Kits. Going to be looking at another Matchbox kit. This is part of the first 10 that Matchbox originally produced. This is of the Westland Lysander, 1/72nd scale. Kit number is PK7 and first issued in 1972. So a little bit about the Lysander, just a quick little bit of stuff on it. The Lysander's a pretty well-known aircraft, so won't get into a whole lot of it, but it was originally designed for Air Ministry specification 839 A39 34 from 1934 for Army cooperation aircraft to replace the Hawker Hector. Westland submitted their design. Their internal number for it was P8. It was designed by Arthur Davenport. He conducted a lot of interviews with Army co-op pilots to find out what they wanted in an aircraft, and field of view, low-speed handling, and STOL performance were the top three things they were looking for, and so they tried to incorporate as much of that in the aircraft as they could. It was a fairly advanced aircraft, even though there's a lot of it that was from previous eras, such as fabric covered wings and fuselage, tube construction, fixed landing gear, things like that. But yet it had other things that were fairly advanced, such as automatic leading edge slats, slotted flaps. It had a variable incidence tailplane. And all those things combined, were able to give it a very low stall speed of 65 miles an hour, which came in handy for the types of operations that it was initially designed for, and then some things that it got involved in later on that it wasn't originally intended for. So a couple of the other interesting things about it was the spatted wheels. Actually, the spats contained the forward-firing 30 caliber Browning machine guns in the spat itself, and you can see the little stub wings that were on here that were added to be able to carry small bombs that were good for soft-skin vehicles and anti-personnel things. So the first flight was 15th of June 1936. Entered service June of 38. Ended up being with the Army Cooperation Squadrons. Number of them went over to France when World War II started. They did pretty good, but were easy meat for fighters that would intercept, even when they were being escorted by Hurricanes. The Lysander was easy prey for German fighters. So out of the 175 that were sent to France, 118 were lost. Now, after Dunkirk, the Lysanders that made it back and the ones that were being replenished in the squadrons ended up flying a lot of missions along the southern coast of England to be observant of the expected German invasion. They did some air sea rescue stuff. They helped pull out some stranded pilots on the continent still. Did a lot of target tug work, training units, and then they ended up being involved with the special duty squadrons, which their main task was inserting and extracting SOE agents, the Special Operation Executives, so basically spies, into France and the Low Countries, and inserting them in there and bringing them out. They were very good aircraft for that, rugged and sturdy, and as mentioned before, had some great landing characteristics. They could take off and land inside of a football field, so that came in handy for that special kind of task. A total of 1,700 86 Lysanders were built, including 225 in Canada. And currently there are still 3 airworthy examples and 11 static displays still left out there. So let's take a look at the kit itself here. This is some fantastic artwork on the cover here. It even tells you a little bit about it. Lysander's a 16 squadron attacking a German motorized unit advancing on Dunkirk in May 1940. So there's your little column, and here you got a few of them coming in, and these guys firing as they're pulling away. 72nd scale Westland Lysander. On the side here, you've got some of the other aircraft from the initial group. You got your PK-7. This is magenta, I guess, kind of purplish color series. On this side, you've got a representation showing the multicolored plastic that the early Matchbox kits were molded in. So that way you could get kind of the look of a finished aircraft without having to do any painting on it. In this case, it looks like two-tone browns with the decals right on it, and you get something that looks kind of nice, made it easier for the younger builders. On the end, we've got a repeat of the artwork. PK-7 again. And same thing on this side. Bottom side of the kit is 2-3 views of the 2 sets of decals that came with this kit, including what squadron it was and where it was located, information about the Lysander on here, and then a bunch of different languages. And you've got the 1972 issue date on this one. This is a top open box, not like what most people are familiar with on Matchbox kits of having end opens. This is a top open, and you can see the original tape that was used to keep the box closed. I'll open it up. And something that I find interesting with these early ones is that there's actually some more stuff on the vertical parts of the bottom piece. So it talks about the stand that came with it, multi-position, you can move it around. Got some additional painting guides. They call it mini paint plan, showing you some of the additional area of things you could paint detail on. Inside here you've got some more information, different languages, and some more paint details for some of the smaller parts. So let's start out with the instructions. If you notice, the instruction sheet color matches the color of the dot coating on there. Set the decals aside. Then another blurb about Lysander, some specifications, some tips on how to build models. Here's a little thing for if you got missing parts or something, where to send it to. Got explanation for the coding in the instructions. And this is a 7-step instruction sheet. So I'll start over here. Fairly simple cockpit area. Get a couple of crew figures. Assembly of the fuselage. Rear deck with the machine gun. Tailplane. Put the canopy on. Get your engine. Wings going on, and then finally the struts, landing gear, and you do get little bombs on there. And Then a little bit more information about painting. Then you do have a list here of all the different kits for part of the first 10. So Fury, Spitfire, Boeing P-12, Zero, Alpha Jet, FW-190, Lysander, Gladiator, Cobra, and Strike Master. Got a couple of these in here, so we're reviewing those on another time. And then here's the decals. They are covered with a little tissue. They actually look like they're in pretty decent shape. Matchbox is kind of hit and miss with their decals, mostly miss. They're usually fairly thick. These actually look like their registration's pretty close, but they always have this kind of ghosted look to them. And they were never really strong, solid decals that I find with most of them. But as you saw on the bottom of the box, these are supposed to represent a couple of specific aircraft. The U, G, and B matches up with the L4805, and that was a aircraft, a Mark II Lysander with number 16 Squadron, France 1940, and that is pretty accurate. I was able to find some information on it and a photograph of it with the earlier coding for that squadron. So I'll show you that image. It was a Mark II, so once they got back from France, most of the Mark IIs were phased out and replaced by Mark IIIs, which went from the Perseus engine to the Mercury engine. And the next one here, LXL, which is supposed to be the R9125. That aircraft, according to the box, is number 225 Squadron, October 3rd, 1939. That's not very accurate. R9125 was actually a Mark III Lysander, and it wasn't delivered until 29 September of 1940, and was assigned to the 225 Squadron, but a year later than what the box is suggesting that it was. So it got to the squadron, of course, after they had come back from France, and they were stationed at Tills Head and Wilts, and they spent the majority of the time on recon patrols along the south coast. This particular plane flew with B flight, and they flew for about 7 months with the squadron and flew 36 sorties for a total of 49.5 hours. And there's no specific crew assigned to it. It was flown by a number of different crews. Eventually, during inspection, they found cracked engine mountings, and the aircraft was sent back to the manufacturer, to Westland, for repair. After that, it spent the next couple of years, 41 through 44, doing a lot of target tug stuff, operational training units, things of that nature. Wasn't really flying any operations at that time. Did have an incident with tipping over on its nose in August of 42. And in 44, in February, the aircraft was sent back again to Westland for further modifications. It received the modifications that were done for the special duty squadrons, which included adding a 150-gallon long-range tank, rear bench seating to be able to accommodate a couple more people in the back instead of just a single observer gunner. It also got fitted with a ladder to allow people to climb in and out of the back, in a hurry. So the aircraft ended up being assigned to 161 Special Duty Squadron in October of 44. But that squadron had flown its last special duties operation in August of 44, so it was there's no real record of it really flying operationally with 161 Squadron. And shortly after being assigned to the squadron, it was involved in the filming of a movie about the special duty staff, a movie which ended up coming out being called Now It Can Be Told. And in that movie, it was coded as JRM. After the war, it was selected for further preservation. By that time, a lot of the Lysanders were gone. Lysander was declared obsolete right after the war. So any of them that were left were being scrapped. But they were looking for, to preserve some of the wartime aircraft. And this particular aircraft did get preserved. The commander of the of 116 Squadron had said that this aircraft, to quote him, has quite a good history attached to it. So it was selected for preservation. Went through various different storage places. Was put on display a number of times. Was flown a few times still into the 50s. Eventually it became grounded. And was, and in 1978 it found its ultimate location, which was the Battle of Britain Museum, where it's been restored back to its Battle of Britain period markings, and that's where it is. You can still see it today. So that's a little bit of history on the markings, and I'll show you some of the photographs that are available, or that I was able to locate on it right here. All right, so let's take a look at the kit here. Example of a early Matchbox production. So here we've got their stand, in the shape of an M for Matchbox. And it's got a little ball socket here, and then this would slot in, of course, to the bottom of the aircraft, so you could get that kind of pose. Really small and short, so, with these fixed landing gears that's on there, it's going to be barely off the ground. But at least you get a stand with it. And here is the canopy piece here. Very large with a lot of framing work. Wing slots into there. Pretty decent. Fairly clear. You can see pretty good through it. There is kind of a wave going through there. Oh wait, no, that's not. That's no, that's actually the frame. It's the angle I was looking at. So it does have some raised sections on there. So it should be easy to mask off and paint. So pretty decent. All one piece though, so you can't, set it up as being part of it open and closed. So you can see here the two-tone color that's molded in, two different colors of brown. So you don't have to paint it if you don't want to, and still have it kind of look cool. So here we've got the fuselage piece. See the fabric fuselage represented by this molding. It's probably a little, these are a little heavy as far as, how far deep it goes for the fabric. I don't think it really shows that much. You've got your cowling and propeller. Pretty nice, delicate propeller. Got your stubs for bombs. Here's your wheel pants. Other half the fuselage. And nothing on the inside of the fuselage. So not much as far as interior detail goes. And then the wings are one-piece wings. So you got some representation of the leading edge slats across there. Again, representation of fabric covering on the wing and also on the horizontal stabilizers. Here's your floor, your itty bitty bombs, your tail gun, struts, and Perseus engine or Mercury engine. Well, since this is saying that it's supposed to be a Mark II kit, that would be the Perseus, I believe. There's your pilot seats, pretty simple. And there's your crew. Not terrible. Actually, yeah, they're all right. So not much to it. Pretty straightforward kit. I think it'll probably make up for a nice representation of a Lysander. So they did issue this kit a few times. This is the 72 issue, but the 73, they went to the side open box that people are more familiar with. And 74, they went to the one that has the little window, so you can see the colors of the plastic. Then 82, they went to the new style box, so they got new artwork. It's the one with the orange and red stripe across the black box. 92, there was another revision on the artwork, new artwork again. Then final issue on it was in 2008 under the Revell name, and that also got some new artwork as well. Nothing anywhere near as dramatic as that. It's very sanitized, just the plane flying in the clouds. So no action like you got to see on the early Matchbox releases. Matchbox did one other Lysander as well in 1/32 scale. It's a really large kit. Fairly simple again, but at the time, it was the only thing in town, for a large scale Lysander. And so that one is also in my collection, so that'll be showing up in a future review as well. So overall, kind of a neat little kit. Good first outing for Matchbox. Their fit was usually pretty good on these early kits. You didn't have to do a whole lot of filling. They went together pretty easy. Most people think a lot simpler than the Airfix kits at the time. The detail wasn't quite, as nice as some other manufacturers maybe, but it made for a nice quick build, especially for younger builders or newer builders. So that's it for today. If you've built one of these yourself, tell us about it in the comment section. If you still got one of these sitting around, take some pictures of it, send it in. We can post it on our next viewer build video. Well, that's all there is for today. Thanks for watching, and have yourself a great rest of your day.